because we're all going to live until we're 100.
Yep.
Our generation, if you do it right, you're going to live till you're 100, but it's going to be good years, not just living that QTR.
Welcome to Look Good, Feel Good with Matt and Amy McKinley, the podcast where we bring you expert advice and honest real talk on health, wellness, and feeling your absolute best. From hormone optimization to aesthetics and everything in between, we're here to help you live your best life. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Look Good, Feel Good with Matt and Amy. I'm Amy.
Good afternoon. I'm Matt.
So today we're going to be talking about answering one of the most common questions we get here. When should I start hormone therapy?
Yesterday.
Yes, you're correct. When should I start peptides? When should I start into regenerative treatments? And so, and honestly, this is one of these topics where people often wait way too long. They wait till they're tired, they're exhausted, they're gaining weight, they're not sleeping, not feeling like themselves anymore. And in reality, the best time to start is before your wheels fall off.
Yeah, a lot of times the wheels have fallen off before we see people.
Yeah, and so the myth of waiting until you're older to start on hormones, we're going to bust that myth.
Bust it.
So there's this misconception that hormone therapy is only for women or when they're in menopause or perimenopause, or for men in their 60s. And, that's kind of really outdated thinking. We know better now. Hormones start to decline, start slowly, sometimes as early as your mid-30s. And by the time most people notice symptoms, their levels have been trending down for years. And so that's why prevention matters. It's, always easier to maintain balance than it is to restore after everything crashes.
Yeah, you don't want to wait for the crash. In fact, all the time people will say, gosh, I wish I would have done this 5 or 10 years ago, because they didn't know how bad they felt until they felt better. And it's awesome to see the transformation and the change, and not just physically, but their whole countenance and their spirits seem to rise, which is really cool. So starting earlier basically means better long-term results. We don't want to wait until we're totally crashed before we start. What we really want, when I say we, all of us, is stability and consistency in everything that we do. And sometimes people think about hormone replacement therapy and they think about vanity. It's not about vanity. It's really about function, prevention, and quality of life. We say it all the time, QTR, quality time remaining. So what do you want to do with your time now? Do you want to wait or jump on top of it and maximize your life?
It's kind of funny. I've said this before. It's like you wouldn't wait till your teeth fell out until you started brushing your teeth. I mean, no, you prevent it. And you shouldn't wait until your energy, your mood, and your metabolism fall apart, to start optimizing your hormone. It's important. I like to think of hormones and regenerative care in decades. So we talk about it in your 30s. In your 30s, this is kind of prevention decade. You might feel fine. Or you're just chugging along. There's fatigue after stress. There's mild anxiety, maybe some weight gain, irregular cycles. But this is the perfect time to get your labs checked, like in your 30s. Optimizing your thyroid. Consider peptides or recovery for sleep.
Yeah, we see people all the time in their 30s that are just not feeling great. We check their labs, and sometimes with men especially, their testosterone has bottomed out already. We start to decline in our late 20s, and sometimes in 30s. Men are feeling downright lousy. So there's some really great options for younger men that don't want to actually inject testosterone or take testosterone replacement. There's actually some really good alternatives that we're going to talk about later on in this podcast.
Yeah. So your 40s, this is the decade of recalibration. Think of it, your hormones are fluctuating, they become a little bit more dramatic. Your estrogen, progesterone levels, testosterone for men and for women, you may feel fine one week and the next week you don't feel good. This is when hormone optimization, targeted peptides, can restore stability and prevent that roller coaster.
Yeah, peptides are a great addition to any therapy that you're doing. HRT and peptides really roll together, and they're super safe and really easy to use, and people, including myself, actually thrive and do amazing on peptides.
So the 50s and beyond, this is the decade of restoration, and this is when hormones continue to decline.
Show them your guns. There you go. Look at Amy.
Woo! Bone density starts to kind of go down. We lose muscle. We start to have inflammation start to creep in. Regenerative therapies like stem cell treatments, some hormone optimization, relaxation, collagen stimulating treatments, that can help repair and rebuild at this decade. So
yeah, 50s is kind of honestly not too late, but most people, if they start before their 50s, are going to do much better. But if you're in your 50s or 60s, don't wait, get in. It's like I said earlier, you should have started yesterday to live your optimal life, or just enjoy the next 4 decades, because we're all going to live until we're 100.
Yep.
Our generation, if you do it right, you're going to live till you're 100, but it's going to be good years, not just living that QTR. So 30s is a lot like preventative medicine. So when you start to feel crappy, don't wait, get in. We have men and women, especially with testosterone replacement therapy. We see this all the time, where their energy levels have crashed and they just don't feel good. 40s, that's really about finding the balance. I started hormone replacement off and on in my 40s, and I wish I would have done it consistently, because when I was off, I experienced weight gain, fatigue, inability to have good workouts, brain fog, and just joint and muscle aches like nothing, like never before. So that wasn't fun at all. 50s, that's really the time for rebuilding. Think of your 50s as, hey, I'm maybe halfway through my life now. It's time to rebuild. If you don't, you'll wish you would have. When patients start early, it really makes it easier to optimize for the long term. But if you haven't started, it's still okay. We can get there quickly. But if you start earlier, there's less catch up.
At any decade. So we talk a little bit about peptides. We often use peptides in younger patients too. They're very, very safe.
Young and old, yeah.
Yep. They're gentle, they're natural. They help restore signaling before major decline sets in. And so, for example, someone in their 30s with fatigue or poor sleep, really at any age, but in the 30s, they might respond beautifully to, like, we have CJC with Ipamorelin. We have BPC 157 for gut repair. Also, your GHK-Cu with copper peptide for skin and hair. They're not replacing hormones. They're kind of reminding your body how to work efficiently again.
Yeah, there's another good one called Wolverine that's been phenomenal. It's kind of gone global, but it's a combination of some of these peptides all mixed together, and it's been fantastic for muscle repair, tissue repair, joint pain, gut health, you name it. So it's a very popular one that I actually love. Amy's tried it. She likes one that's a little different that has more copper in it for skin. These are pretty amazing, and they're very safe. They have a short half-life, which means they will be out of your system pretty quickly when you stop using them, within a day or two.
In our 30s, peptides are very, very safe to use. We use a lot of them. When our hormones naturally dip, later on in life, this is, we can step into bioidentical hormone replacement, and the body's already really primed to respond beautifully to that. So.
Yeah, and it's almost like going back a little bit to don't wait until it's too late. It's like your car, right? You don't want to wait until your check engine light is on before you go and get some maintenance done. If you do that, it's going to cost you a lot more. It's the same thing with your health. Invest in your health when you're younger, and it will ride through there and get you where you want to be without breaking down. One thing about, back to peptides can really help keep you sharp. I want to tell my experience with CJC 1295 Ipamorelin. So these are 2 peptides blended together that help the body produce more natural, and I stress natural, human growth hormone. Now, human growth hormone is abundant when we're young, and as we age, it declines. And along with that decline comes loss of lean muscle mass, insulin resistance, dropping of your hormones, brain fog, all of these things. CJC Ipamorelin, for me, was amazing for all of the above, but especially my joint pain and recovery. In the gym, I've worked out my whole life. This has made a huge difference. After probably less than a week of being on this, I noticed differences in the gym. Great workouts, great pumps, and the biggest thing was fast recovery and just feeling great.
Yeah.
It's not just physical, it's mental. It gets momentum going. You just want to do better in everything in life that you do.
So we talk about when to start hormone replacement therapy. For women, 40s, early 40s, in perimenopause, typically that's mid to late 40s, is the window where we should see estrogen levels start to decline, progesterone levels, testosterone testosterone starts to fluctuate. That's
wouldn't
when
you say we see testosterone earlier than everything else?
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so. And I think there's a lot of things that
With women.
play into that. I think a lot of women get put on birth control when they're younger. That decreases your testosterone levels quite a bit. Anyway, that's so true. So the mistake is many women make is waiting until they've gone a full year without a period to start hormone replacement therapy. And that's when they considered 1 year without a period, and FSH over 50 is considered menopause.
But I want to comment on that. It's rare. Most women have hit menopause way before those lab values. A follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH, is 50. I'll see women in their 60s and 70s that have lower numbers than that on their labs. That's why we don't just treat labs. We treat patients and listen to their quality of life and really look at all of the lab detail. It's like putting a puzzle together and making that perfect picture.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that, sometimes they'll have estradiol levels from fat. Because it releases estrone. So
yeah, they might have zero estradiol or next to nothing, zero progesterone, but an FSH that's 30. So they are in menopause. They haven't had a period for
over a year.
Yeah.
So anyway, but by the time they hit menopause, what happens is the body has often lost a lot of bone, collagen, or metabolic activity, insulin resistance plays a role. So optimizing hormones early helps smooth that transition, protect our heart, our brain, and maintain our quality of life. For men, testosterone can decline as early as the 30s. And, especially with stress, poor sleep, if you've noticed fatigue, weight gain, irritability, loss of motivation, slower recovery, that's a signal to get your labs checked. Don't wait. Come on in.
Yeah, and low testosterone doesn't just mean low libido. In fact, a lot of times men will still have decent libido, but everything else is crashing around them. Energy levels, sleep is a big one. I don't sleep well anymore. Motivation, it's probably the second thing that I hear. Number one is low energy. Number two is motivation, where, gosh, I just don't have the motivation I used to. Or focus, like, man, I'll be at work and I don't want to be there and I just can't focus. It's like, let's change this around. And also mood, like just feeling, and you guys have heard the term blah, or I just feel blah. I hear that all the time. So those are all symptoms of low testosterone. So what we want to do, again, is optimize. We use that word consistently. We want to optimize your levels, not just what's on your lab readings, to make you feel sharper, stronger, better mood, just enhanced in everything that you do. A big deal for a lot of people is they'll say, man, I get through my day at work and then I'm just done. I don't have that quality time that I want to spend with my family. And my favorite visit when I meet people back at maybe 2 or 6 months is they say, now I'm doing what I want to do. I'm spending good quality time with my wife, with my kids, with my family, with my significant others. I'm doing things that I want to do and I love it. I can think of one great example of a young man, anyone younger than me is a young man, by the way. Okay, let's get that straight. He's in his mid-30s, and he works at the INE out at the site. So if you're listening to this, what the site is, it's a Idaho National Engineering Lab. Okay, so a lot of government employees that they work long hours. I don't think there's a high job satisfaction for a lot of people that work out there, at least that I've talked to, but it pays good and it's a good job. So a lot of times they'll be working jobs they don't really want, but they do because they're supporting their families and it provides them a good means, a good life for their family. This man in his mid-30s came in kind of with the story I told earlier. He's like, man, as soon as I'm done at work, I'm done. When I get home, I don't feel like I have that quality time with my family, my wife. The weekends, I don't want to do anything anymore. I'm just surviving. He said we started drinking a lot of alcohol on the weekends just to kind of pass the time because I didn't want to go out and do anything. And he got on testosterone replacement therapy, or what we call optimization. He got on lipo B12 injections, which are fantastic for energy and metabolism. And also his vitamin D levels were low. Getting that up really boosted his overall mood stability tremendously. And then also DHEA, which is something we're going to talk about on a podcast soon. He got on this program. At 2 months, he came back and said, I noticed a difference the first week I started. taking these injections and getting these levels back up. And he was in tears, and it put me in tears because it was like, wow, there's so many people out there that can just enhance everything in their life by optimizing, not just standing for the status quo or going into the doctor's offices when they say your labs are low, there's nothing I can do for you, which is the story we hear most frequently.
Yeah. And let's not forget about regenerative medicine either. Things like stem cells, exosomes, PRP, and, some biostimulators that we use here in our clinic. These are incredible for healing joints, injuries, improving skin, slowing aging at the cellular level. And so regenerative therapies don't replace hormones. However, they work alongside tissue, stimulate collagen, and help your body regenerate. So whether you're treating an old injury, near knee injury or arthritis, or, you're simply investing in longevity, these tools, allow us to help restore what time has taken without surgery or harsh medications.
Yeah, a lot of my background is orthopedics for 25 years. So honestly, you name it, I've seen it. It's rare that there's nothing that I haven't seen. It's really blown me away how well stem cells work and exosomes to repair and honestly regenerate broken down tissue. I had to be a believer, but now I can't say enough good about it. It's been really amazing. Getting people back doing the things they love to do, like hiking, skiing, lifting weights, staying alive. I think that's a big one to talk about, just staying alive, having that zest in life. And with my personal experience with stem cells, I didn't try stem cells for probably 6 months after I started using them for patients. And I had injections in both of my shoulders. My left shoulder, there's a chronic injury there from football, dislocated playing football at Rick's College. It was a high-speed collision on a kickoff team where I hit a guy running full speed in my shoulder. The ball and socket separated, and basically the ball went out the back of my joint. Me being a young, lots of testosterone at that time, and crazy guy, well, I played 2 more games with the shoulder that was unstable, which only made things worse. So I had to go in and have a surgery back then, and this would have been 1990. I had to have what's called an open surgery. Now they're done through scopes. So I've got a big, massive scar on my shoulder, and they were able to fix it, put the ball and socket back together, but it left me with what's called post-traumatic arthritis. So my shoulder developed arthritis. I've had pain in it ever since. Not debilitating pain, but pain that was just chronic and nagging all the time. Nothing that I wanted to have a major surgery for, maybe because I've seen a lot of major surgeries, and sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. But I had stem cells done in the shoulder over 2 years ago, and I'm telling you, it's the best I've felt since my early 20s. I've got better range of motion, better strength. When this happened to me and I saw these results, it makes me just really, really passionate about this. And I'm able to talk to others, because if it's a chronic injury or an acute injury that you want to avoid surgery for, stem cell therapy has been amazing. It's changed so many lives. Last year, we did, well, I'm kind of a nerd, I counted the numbers. We did 263 stem cell injection. This year, we're on pace to blow that away. And people are finding out about it. They're having results. And we really don't advertise for this, by the way. People are telling their friends. I saw a guy this week and his wife who we treated over 2 years ago. They have probably shared this message with 20 people that have come to see us. And these are people that if they get results, they're going to tell others. If they don't get results, they're going to tell others. So seeing this progress and people avoiding total knee surgery, total shoulder surgery, it's been pretty awesome. And backs and necks. We've seen tremendous results there as well. So if it's something that you've got going on or know a loved one or a friend, let them know. It might save them a $100,000 surgery and quality of life.
So the bottom line is, there isn't a perfect age to start hormones or peptides or regenerative therapy. And there's just a right time for you. So the earlier you start supporting your body, the better your long-term outcomes. So you're not chasing youth. You're preserving health span. And we talk about QTR, quality time remaining. That's what we're preserving. And so when you optimize hormones, peptides, regenerative care, early, you're setting yourself up for, to feel great. And also, not just this year, but for decades to come. And so that's one thing that we really want to, hit home is we want you to start earlier than what you think you need to be. When you start to feel those, when you got to that part where you're not losing weight and it's hard and it's difficult, you're not sleeping good, and you go to the doctors and you're dismissed because it's just part of getting old and it's just part of the aging process. It's not true. Optimizing those hormones sets you up for a better life in the long run.
Yeah, it really does. And we can't stop the clock. We can't stop aging. If anyone can figure that out, please let us know, because we would like to get it out to the masses. But what you can do is you can age on your terms, not somebody else's terms. Do it the way you want to age. One thing we say all the time is get back to your best self. Envision in your mind what your best self is. Take that picture, whether it be physical, mental, pain, all of those things. Envision your best life and come and tell us what it looks like, and let's see if we can get you there.
Yeah.
That's the way to live.
It's true. So thank you for listening to Look Good and Feel Good with Matt and Amy. And, if today's episode helped you rethink what aging well really means, share it with someone. Share, who's curious about taking control of their health instead of just waiting for things to fall apart. So until then, keep doing the things that make you look good and feel good. Thank you.
Thank you.